Welcome to the Undrafted, Uncensored cast of Pod. Hosted by Nick Archuleta. Mosted by Colin Zanker. And last but certainly is least, Joseph Goodwin.
Welcome in, everyone, to Undrafted, Uncensored, where I would love nothing more this week than for the Jets to trade Davante Adams to the Steelers, just so he can lose to them one more week in a row.
You screwed that up, Nick.
I did. I had Steelers in my head because I wanted to make sure I had the right team. And
who should he be traded to?
the Giants.
The
Broncos.
Giants. There you go. Attaboy.
What did I say?
You said Davante Adams traded to the Steelers.
I'm leaving.
So he could lose to the Steelers. Yeah, so this is the Undrafted Uncensored, where we kick out people who have terrible intros. So
Bye.
See you later, Nick.
It was nice seeing you.
Nice having you.
Guys.
See you next time.
Yeah, if there is a next time.
Yes, Davante Adams has lost 2 straight games to the Steelers. Thank you to the Jets and the Vegas Raiders, and thank you to the Giants for making another trade.
Oh man, I would love that. That would be great. It turns out also that everybody reading the lips of
Alvin Kamara.
Alvin Kamara last week. Jesus, it's late. It's been a long day.
It's tired and I'm late.
Yeah. Apparently, he didn't want to get out of New Orleans because he just signed a 2-year deal.
No, that doesn't necessarily mean that. That actually makes him a little bit easier to trade because now he's locked up in a deal. I think that he's secured his money, but now a team doesn't have to negotiate a future contract with him before signing him and trading him, or trading for him and then trying to make a deal. Then I think it actually makes it much easier for him to move from New Orleans because teams know what they're going to be paying this guy for the next 3 seasons.
Okay. And he already had a decent sized deal. Was this one of those front loading contract extension things maybe? Or was it just a straight up extension? I didn't see it.
It's just a 2-year extension.
Okay. Of current deal. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So it carries him through 26 now. Is that right? 28? I don't remember.
Okay. Well, that means the Broncos can't afford him.
No, they can't because the deal doesn't kick it until next year. So with it, it's through 20. It puts him 2-year 20 that puts him under contract through 2026.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
$24.5 million extension. So $12 million a year, basically. So he had 2 years remaining on his contract that I guess 2 years that the Saints saved $18.9 million against the cap by changing this deal.
I don't know, dude.
Makes sense.
I wouldn't mind seeing him in orange and blue. I wouldn't hate it.
It would make sense. I mean,
throw 2 of our running backs at him plus 6th round, depending on who you send.
Well, yeah, I don't think I'd throw picks in just because
they're going to want to pick.
You have to trade picks, yeah. The Broncos don't have any players that could get Alvin Kamara. Who are you going to trade? The Saints are done. Their season's over. You got to trade young assets that are going to be good later, which the Broncos can't afford to give up.
Well, it depends on which young assets we're talking about. I mean, do you give up a Marvin Mims for him? The wide receiver core is pretty beat up in New England or in New Orleans, and is Marvin Mims one of those young guys? Is there another cornerback? Yeah, they're probably good on the tight end front. I mean, Taysom Hill's hurt, Juwan Jennings or Johnson, but yeah, maybe Dulcich goes. Do you throw in one of these cornerbacks this year that? I know Surtain has been out, he's probably clearing the protocol this week, but throw one of those guys in because their defense has been bad. Do you throw in one of, your linebackers maybe? I'm not sure. But maybe it's a late pick, but it doesn't have to be a high pick.
Yeah.
No, yeah, probably a late pick. Also, so I just looked at it. A couple different websites. One said $4.5 million cap space. One said $5 million in cap space is all the Broncos have. So they'd have to move cap around in order to afford that contract. But
Well, that's just the
I'm
next
still not
year.
against it.
You get the Saints to pay next year, and then the year after, the Broncos can take over whatever's left because they won't be under the rust cap anymore.
Okay, even just for this year, as long as I can get through this year, they get a little bit more next year. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, $5 million in cap space is nothing. Like nothing to worry about, really.
No.
In all honesty, they can make that. They can move that around pretty easily. We've seen more financial acrobatics happen. I mean, New Orleans has been over the cap every single year for the last 10 years, but they find a way to make it under somehow, some way.
Yeah.
So they can. I know the Broncos, with having that amount of cap space, they could make some moves and make it work. They would probably just fully guarantee somebody. Maybe they move Sutton's into a fully guaranteed instead of the performance bonus. Possibly your Jonathan Franklin Myers money gets moved around.
Restructure some contracts.
Yeah, there's ways to do that. I mean, there's so many different ways.
The money isn't really a worry because that's actually not a bad
guideline. The salary cap's more of a guideline than anything anyway. Nobody really pays attention to it.
Yeah, it's not like the NHL with a hard cap where you got to move stuff around and put guys on long-term IR.
Yeah.
Vegas, Tampa.
They're just kind of like, oh, well, we need 10 million, so we'll just do this, this, and this. And it's like what was it? Poppet game that you'd have pull all the pieces before the timer ended.
Operation.
No.
I don't know.
No.
Operation. I wasn't listening. So his contract is $18 million this year. So the Broncos got to clear out $13 million to get him under the cap.
That's nothing.
Yeah,
that's
a whole Cortland Sutton.
That's easy math for one of their accountants, though.
Yeah. Yeah, if we're talking like quarterback money, then we're talking issue. If we're talking Matt Stafford, Broncos placing calls for Matt Stafford and his contract, then we'd have an issue.
Yeah,
but
I mean, $13 million. They'll have that done before the schmear's even on the bagel.
Right? It's probably before the second number is dialed, the number is done. It's like, all right, we got the space, we're good.
I don't know. The Broncos don't have a very good track record of moving money around and getting guys cheap. They're one of the few that seems to not do a lot of those front loading. I mean, obviously a lot of that was Elway.
Yeah.
But George Payton he's been here long enough. He hasn't really done much contract restructuring and stuff. I don't know. I don't think
anybody really knew how before Sean.
Yeah, does he now?
We'll find out.
And it's like you guys said, it's more of an accountant that would do those things anyway, but still, like or maybe the accountant sucks. I don't know.
I mean, there's a possibility too.
I mean, I don't know. The Broncos did pretty good about moving money around in the late 90s.
Yeah, that was a pretty potent team there.
Yeah, that's very
bring back whoever the hell was the accountant then.
Who was the GM then?
Speaking of, I was talking about NHL. Did anyone see the person who wrote in the write-in ballot for the election?
No.
Who wrote in Gabe Landeskog for president?
Fuck yeah.
No.
I was like, oh, captain, my captain. Not quite eligible, but that's a pretty solid choice.
Yeah.
That's a pretty solid leader there.
It's a bold move there, Cotton.
On a delivery today, I saw the poster, or not poster, it was like the lawn sign. Rick Astley for president.
Yes.
Never going to give you up. Never going to let you down. Never going to turn around and hurt you.
Oh man, I do want that.
Got my vote.
Speaking of getting hurt, and the Carolina Panthers coming up.
Again, this is an opportunity for the Broncos. They got to do what they got to do, and they can look pretty good because that would have put them 5 wins on the season, 1 away from bowl eligible, if it was college. And just a bad team. A bad team that you have an opportunity to score more than 28 points with. That would be weird. At home, that would be weird. And that would be 4 wins in a row. That's terrifying.
And like Colin just alluded to, their starting quarterback is hurt.
Yeah. Well, is he hurt?
Oh, yeah. He's got a fucking car wreck.
Well, I think you can get in a car wreck and not get hurt, though.
That's true, but they're evaluating him. We'll see. He may end up like playing through whatever, but I mean, honestly though, like it was fun to watch the resurgence of the Red Rocket for a little bit, but I don't think it makes that big of a difference. They're probably better off just getting to know for sure, like put in Bryce Young one more time and just make sure that he's ass so that you can afford to move on from him and not end up being in the John Elway purgatory of like, well, it's Paxton Lynch's third year. Maybe he'll figure it out. I don't think he will. So they may end up being better off just going that route anyway.
Drew Luck got to play on Sunday.
Or just trade him. Yeah, there you go.
I mean, it works out sometimes.
I mean, garbage time is garbage time, man.
Well, yeah, but I don't see Dave Canales. This is a lot like the Vic Fangio and is it Teddy Bridgewater or is it Drew Lock situation? Dave Canales doesn't want to just play the rookie and put himself in jeopardy of losing his job again.
I mean, because
losing the job.
17 is not going to make that happen.
Yeah, I was going to say, have they won?
But the Carolina Panthers have looked better under Andy Dalton than Bryce Young. And if Bryce Young continues to look terrible week after week after week when they actually were competitive in 2 out of their 3 games, last week notwithstanding. I mean, last week they got the doors blown off them by Washington.
Yeah, they did.
But when they're actually competitive in games with a roster that was nowhere near competitive at all with Bryce Young, at least Dave Canales can say, hey, yeah, we need another quarterback. Yeah, Andy Dalton isn't the future answer. Neither is Bryce Young.
All right.
But look at what I did with these guys who couldn't win anything. What happened?
Hang on.
Okay. Something happened.
There's some breaking news. Hang on. I got to make sure I read that right.
Nick's getting Twitter catfished.
Okay. I'm not sure what happened, but
Fernando Valenzuela pitched 17 years in the MLB.
Oh no!
Or Fernando Mania has passed away at the age of 63.
Oh, Dodgers are winning the series. Dodgers are going to sweep.
Dodgers are winning the series.
When's the last time the Yankees and the Dodgers played in the World Series?
Was that
1981?
Fernando Valenzuela?
Fernando Mania.
I didn't realize that was. Wow, that's crazy. Well, it's going to be a pretty easy victory formation for the Dodgers. Nick's losing every single one of them.
All of it.
Wow, that's crazy.
Damn.
Man.
Well, he was stepping away from the Spanish
R.I.P. to legend.
They had announced just before the playoffs, he was stepping away, but they didn't say why, obviously. And
that's a pretty good reason. I see it now too. I don't see anything extra on it. Man, rest in peace to a guy who brought a lot of energy to baseball. I mean, I wasn't around for it, but you see the videos. At least when it all started, you see the videos, especially in or when he was with the Dodgers and in the playoffs, and all the baseball fans that came around because of the energy that he brought. That's a big loss.
Yeah, it is. I mean,
the baseball community and the Hispanic baseball community.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, he brought in a whole culture. There wasn't a Spanish speaker alive in the LA area that wasn't involved in Fernando Mania. I mean, you can't talk to any Mexican Dodgers fan without them somehow at some point bringing up Fernando. So yeah, I mean, thoughts and prayers to the Dodgers family, his family, Dodgers fans. I mean, it sucks.
I mean, it really sucks for you, Nick, but
no, it doesn't. You know why? Because I got a fortune cookie today.
Good.
And the fortune cookie was in my favor. So I want you to shut up because my fortune cookie is gonna beat out whatever cancer probably took Fernando, because I'm assuming that's what it was, based on looking at him after they announced he was leaving.
Yeah, I wasn't. Yeah,
he looked really frail.
Yeah,
victory is just around the corner, is what P.F. Chang's fortune cookie told me today.
Go.
And it was staring at me the whole time.
Oh, you'll have to hang out to see if that was actually true.
Anyway, back to the Broncos.
Yeah. But yes, so for the Panthers, Dave Canales doesn't want to lose. They do have, you saw the difference in their offense when Andy Dalton came into those games. Deontay Johnson has become relevant in the NFL and in fantasy. Jonathan Brooks, their rookie running back, who I've been stashing on my bench for fucking ever, is about to come back. That window just opened. So, yeah, when you look at, it's not that Chuba Hubbard hasn't had a good year. Jonathan Brooks is just a more explosive younger player. But Chuba Hubbard, the Chubas, he's had a damn good season, but that offense wasn't working with Bryce Young. So Dave Canales wants that team to win. And this is that perfect time that I talked about earlier this year, which is why I called this one a loss. I don't know what I'm going to call it yet going into Sunday, but this is that perfect letdown game. You had the short week where the Broncos end up playing the Chargers and then the Saints, and you have the long extended break after all that emotional roller coaster of going down to New Orleans. And this was looking at it before the season. You're coming in to play a team at home where you should knock the doors off of them. Really, just they with Bryce Young, your defense should have been able to get to him. You should still be able to get to Andy Dalton, but Andy Dalton is a smarter quarterback than Bryce Young, at least more experienced. And so your defense, looking at it from the start of the year, was that this should be an easy win because you have all this extra time. But this is another one of those turning point games that I worried about for the Broncos. Is are they good enough? Do they have the same energy going into this game that they did going into New Orleans? Do they have the same fire, or are they going to have a letdown because it is the Panthers who are just on they've been terribly run for a long time. Thank God that we don't have any restaurants that have signs outside where our owners like to go into and bitch at them.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, Dave Tepper is one of the worst owners in sports, which is saying something because there's a lot of really bad owners in sports. But he's definitely one of the worst, if not the worst, in the NFL. It's really sad. And they've got nothing. Like, they've got a couple of players here and there, but like, they're not going to win any games. Their only win is against the Raiders, and they're fucking terrible. So I feel like a letdown in this game is not winning by a certain amount, because it's they don't have. Yeah, if they find a way to lose this game, the Broncos, oh my God, that is catastrophic. That is really fucking bad. That is dropping a game to the 0-16 Lions and letting them not be the 0-16 Lions. Like, that you took your foot off the gas and you fucked up and you let them have a chance like that. Even if Andy Dalton plays, he's at most he's put up 24 points this year. No, 36 in the win against the Raiders, but that's the Raiders. But yeah, like, I don't know. I want this to be a game that we're like, ooh, hey, we should like watch out. Like, I heard driving around all day, I'm listening to the fan and I hear Stokely's promo going, this is a trap game. No, it's fucking not. This is so far removed from a trap game. This is a game that you have to. If you lose this game, when you lose a game that's so easily winnable, it can't even be considered a trap game because you can't even really get trapped like that. That would be real bad. So I think the biggest letdown here is just how can the Broncos win? Like, if it's close, that's also pretty scary.
What about the Patriots last year?
The Patriots last year were better than the Panthers.
The Broncos Patriots last year game.
Yeah, the Patriots were a much better team than
Oh.
this team here. They were coached by Bill Belichick. They had the best run defense in the NFL. They had quality defensive guys. Their offense didn't score a lot of points. They had fucking barely anything, but the Broncos offense wasn't much better either. So that was a team that had an identity, that had something. Like, yeah, their quarterback was fucking Bailey Zappi, or maybe it was Mac Jones at the time when the Broncos played them. I don't remember. I'm pretty sure it was Zappi. But no, that team, if we're talking about like which team would win between historically terrible teams, that Patriots team beats this Panthers team every time.
But it's the same situation.
No, how so?
And they were a bad team. The Broncos were on a roll. They should have won that game. They were going in there hot. Like, it's the same situation in that aspect. Is like that was a team that they should beat, and they looked like they they look like they just were.
See, but
didn't care in that game.
But the difference is in this game, the Broncos have all the reason in the world to go into Sunday knowing they're going to win, because after that you play Baltimore and Kansas City, and
they had the playoffs on the line last year
because they were going to make the playoffs.
They technically, were in it at the time. That was why that loss was so disappointing last year, because that was it. That was the chances of us, getting to see that version. Probably still get wrecked in the first round.
They've been destroyed in the first round.
Yeah, most likely.
There would have been. Sean Payton would have done so much to make sure Russ did not succeed in the orange and blue.
No, not in the playoffs. Sean just wants to win games.
Yeah.
That's all he wants to do. That's why they kept Russ in, because they wanted to bench Russ sooner than they did, but they kept winning games. So they didn't bench Russ until they lost.
Yeah.
With the Patriots. So he was going to keep him in until something terrible like that happened. But I think it's a different situation too, because they're just such a dumpster fire, the Panthers, whereas the Patriots were terrible for sure, but they weren't this bad. This is one of the worst. Like, the fact they got a win just also shows how bad the Raiders are right now.
The Patriots last year were like that jug of milk you have in your fridge that says yesterday was the expiration date, but it still smells just good enough that you can pour it in your cereal. It was just good enough to still get the job done. Whereas the Panthers are a 2-week expired milk, and you're just afraid to go in the fridge at this point because it just stinks.
It's cottage cheese.
I think you guys are looking at this all the wrong way, because I think the Broncos were looking at it in much the same way last year as they could this year.
And
it should have been a win. It should have been an easy win. It doesn't matter if it's 1 week or 2 weeks. So did they learn like that? That's what's fearful, because I don't know if they've learned that lesson yet. Because like you said, what's coming up? Baltimore and KC.
Yeah.
So you're overlooking your opponent.
No, you're not overlooking your opponent. You're staying 1 week at a time, because there's no way you can game plan for both the Panthers and the Ravens. The Ravens, no, you're planning for a running quarterback, basically. That's it. And your defense is going to be pushed to the limit. But you still have to get there first, and they've already had the 3 days off after the Thursday night game where they actually got to go home and relax for a little bit. Kind of a mini bye week.
Yeah. I hear what you're saying, but I'm worried about the Broncos looking ahead and not taking this team seriously. That's what I'm fearful of. Look at what happened with the Chargers game. They didn't play for 3 quarters because they were looking ahead to New Orleans.
What? No, they weren't looking ahead to New Orleans. New Orleans was decimated at that point.
We said that at the beginning of the season. All of us said that at the beginning of the season, even when we did our pick'ems. The Broncos were probably going to lose to the Chargers because they were looking forward to that Thursday night game, because that's what they were planning for, because that's how Sean Payton is. And what happened?
And I'm the only one who said, look, be careful of the Panthers, because you're going to be looking ahead after that emotional high of playing New Orleans, and then you got the Ravens and the Chiefs.
Yeah,
and I'll stay on that, because I don't know if this team I don't know if this team has that mental fortitude to come out and do that. They did beat a Raiders team that they should have beaten. That was good to see. That beat down. They've beaten the Tampa Bay Buccaneers when they were injured. So there were 2 teams. But I'm afraid that this team is still not looking at what's right in front of them type of team, because they've already shown it. They've already shown it to us.
What do you mean they've shown it to us?
They showed it to us with that with the Chargers game, and then the New Orleans game right after that. It felt like they were planning ahead and they were looking past the Chargers, because the Chargers were just not on their radar.
Okay, but
coaching staff is it?
No, the coaching staff. Sean Payton is incapable of looking to the next week. Every week, he is one of those old school type coaches. Oh. I don't think he is ever capable of doing that. The players maybe, because they're young, they don't really know. But no, Sean Payton, it's constantly all the time, next week, this week, whatever the planning is. No, I don't think they look forward to New Orleans. No, they got their asses kicked by the Chargers, because they came out and they just couldn't stop the run. They thought that their defense was going to be able to hold them. They were hoping the offense would be able to move. The offense did fucking nothing. And then, all of a sudden they turn around at the end. But I don't think that means they were looking ahead to another game, because especially with New Orleans being so decimated, again, that was a game that not necessarily a foregone conclusion, but it was these two games are probably the easiest the Broncos will play maybe in the next 5 years. Like, with how injury decimated the Saints have been and just how bad the Panthers have been. I don't think that too many, like, if your coach is looking ahead to the next week, fire him immediately. Like, that is so that's so uncoach-like. Like, you have to only plan for the next team. You're barely even looking back unless it's like for film study purposes. I think they just fucked up. They thought they could handle the Chargers running game and they couldn't. Because the defense isn't very big. It's just how it is. Hopefully they figure out ways to scheme against running teams like the Chargers, or the Chargers just don't make it.
And just so you know, Colin, both times we did our little picks.
Yeah.
You have the Broncos beating the Panthers both.
Yeah,
times.
no, but I said I was worried about them because it's the trap game.
Yeah, I think at the beginning of the year it seemed like it, but with the way we've seen them play this year, I don't think you can consider it a trap game now because they're so bad.
Defense is too good.
Yeah, you can lose, or you can beat this game by not this game. You can beat this team by not as many points as you think and consider it a disappointment.
They beat a better team in the Saints without PS2. And they're supposed to. They may have PS2 back for Sunday, so
they should.
A better team in the Saints with a rookie making his second start, no wide receivers at all, and their defense was hurt. I don't know. I would take the Panthers over last week's Saints team.
That's a good question. Who's worse?
I would take the Panthers right now over last week's Saints team and say they're better.
I think you're right. I think I would too. I think just the competency of Andy Dalton. And the fact they have one healthy receiver, two technically if you count Xavier Legette, who's been fine his rookie year. He's had a couple big games. Yeah, I probably would take Carolina over the Saints, just barely. But the bringing back Patrick Surtain, I think, helps a lot, and helps massively. And yeah, I think that. But still, like this game, it's like same with the Saints. If they found a way to lose to that Saints team, that would have been fucking catastrophic because the Saints had nothing. That offense was ineffectual.
Yeah, because they would have wasted 2 weeks of planning on the Saints. I'm glad he froze right there.
No, I didn't. I heard you.
No, Joe froze.
Oh, yeah, he did. Look at that. All right. Well, let's speaking of bowl eligible, I had to drop that joke earlier. Buffs are a win away from being bowl eligible. There he is.
He's back.
Guess who's back?
Back again. Buffs are back. Tell a friend. This will be win number 6 if they can beat the Bearcats of Cincinnati.
Nah.
Go get yourself some Skyline chili while you're out there. This team feels different now. And I don't know what it is. But, you know, when you were first watching this team, obviously the Nebraska loss was starting to look more just like no care. Where this team seems to really they're starting to really put it together and gel a little bit more. Am I reading too much into this, or am I actually seeing something that's there?
No, I mean I think you're right. They are playing much more team football. We talked about this last week going into the game against Arizona, that against K-State they hung around tough with that game, and it was a tough loss, but they weren't decimated. They didn't let the little mistakes really kill them, or they didn't let the little mistakes snowball into boulders. Like I did that.
Look what you did there.
So this team has overcome, some mistakes and some deficiencies. The offensive line is looking better. Travis Hunter, we'll have to see what his playing time is like, where he is spending the bulk of his time, because I think this is one of those moments where Dion and the team and Travis, they're kind of looking at his future because of these injuries the last 2 games, and like where he should play and what's his value to this team, because you have no value if you can't play, obviously.
No.
The other thing this week is watch out Cincinnati, because Shedeur was not on the Heisman ballot watch. So
he's not going to be happy.
This game, this could be one of those just show me games from Shedeur, where I hope it doesn't get out of hand, but Shedeur tries to do a lot of stuff, and it could go one of two ways. It could go extremely well or extremely bad. I don't see a lot of middle ground in this game because I feel like Shedeur will be pressing to prove that he's worth being in that conversation and one of those top names that should be on the ballot. So I'm a little nervous about it in that aspect, but I also do believe in Shedeur Sanders and kind of what he's done to this point. So give me the Broncos big, and whatever, Skyline Chili. I know the Bearcats are coming off of they crushed Nebraska last week. I think it was like 38-3 or something.
Yeah.
They killed them, which it shouldn't be a good sign for the Buffs having lost to Nebraska, but that team does feel very different from where it was in week 2. And,
Nebraska.
Speaking of looking ahead, that felt like CU was looking ahead to CSU more so than they were playing Nebraska. And I feel like they've had a lot better focus as of late. So I think going into Cincinnati, this is a bet on Shedeur Sanders type of game, and you'll know in the first quarter if you're gonna get your bets on Shedeur, because I think he is going to try and take over this game.
Hey Joe.
Hey Nick.
You're the only one left that hasn't made a mistake tonight. The Broncos are playing the Panthers, not the Bearcats. Colin.
I say the Broncos? When did I say
that?
Yeah,
right at the beginning of your rant.
Said Broncos instead of Buffs.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I already have Devontae Adams playing for the Steelers. He can lose
and losing to them somehow.
Yeah, somehow losing to them at the same time. And then I can't remember I want him to trade to the Giants, and
Jets. I helped screw that up too, because you were like halfway mid thought, and I jokingly yelled out the Jets.
Yeah,
definitely I wasn't trying to help, but I wasn't helping.
Anyway,
but yeah, no, you're right though. This team definitely looks better. They're trending in the right direction. To Colin's point, I think both lines look better. Are continuing to increase. That defense looks fantastic. Robert Livingston. I'm just trying to remember. I'm pretty sure there was a Robert Livingston the second or the third as a lineman in the NFL, I want to say. It's a fun name. I just want to add the third to this guy's name. He doesn't have one. It's kind of fun. And with the Travis Hunter thing, it kind of happened in the perfect time, because they now have a relatively easier slate going forward. So like you're saying, Colin, we'll see Shedeur either push too hard, which I think I don't know what him pushing too hard looks like. If that's just them dominating, or if it's him trying to, like, if he's trying to fit balls into windows he doesn't normally fit, but it works. So fuck it. That sounds cool. But more interceptions, more mistakes sounds bad, because he's always been so efficient and so methodical. And I think with Travis Hunter too, you kind of see the Buffs maybe having to win without him to an extent, or figure out which side of the ball they want to have him on, because they don't want to have him play every single snap. If he's playing hurt, that seems like a terrible idea. And even though I think in the NFL he should be a receiver, and he's probably better as a receiver, I think the Buffs should, if they're going to pick one, it's corner. Because they have LeJontay Wester, and they have Jimmy Horn, and they have the big kid who's actually my favorite, and I can't think of his name. But they've got talented receiver. They don't have nearly as much talent on defense. So I feel like but then again, you put him in the situation where he has to tackle somebody. Travis, I wouldn't expect him to take anything. He's going to hit somebody, and then he's just going to get hurt potentially too. So like that, you almost want to sit him for a week, like the Nuggets maybe should have done with Jamal Murray at the end of last season to an extent. Like just give him a week, but that kills his Heisman chances. And I don't think Dion is willing to do that to Travis Hunter, is to kill his Heisman chances for 1 week. So it's going to be fascinating to see how they handle it, because I want to see, because we don't know much about this Buffs coaching staff style and the way they want to do things. So I'm kind of intrigued to see how they handle all this.
Well, I think they've got to go to Travis and see what he I mean, Travis is going to want to play
Yep.
wide receiver and DB. We know that already. He wants to play both spots the whole damn time. So they're going to have to go to him and say, what do you want more? Like, we'll have a few plays for you on offense. We'll have a few plays for you on defense. But you got to focus on one because we need you this whole time. The last thing the Buffs need to do is to be bowl eligible, make a bowl game, even possibly make a college football playoff where they're at now, and then not have Travis Hunter available. Because if he's not available at all in a game, they're not winning anything.
No.
I mean, you could lose. You can lose a bunch of players on the team, but Shadur, Travis, you lose one of those two guys, your chances are gone.
And you mean during like a playoff game, not during right now in the regular season?
Yeah, right now during the regular season, you're fine without him.
Yeah.
But that's why you have to have him choose, and you have to start limiting the packages or plays that he is out there on the field for. He can't play 125 plays a game anymore.
No.
That's just, you're going to end up losing him by the end of the season or having a very diminished product.
Well, yeah, and I mean it's going to affect his play time in the NFL too, because at some point, an NFL team is spending millions of dollars on this one person. They want to make sure. I can't remember the stupid movie. I want to make a quote, but I can't remember it yet, so I got to find it. But he wants to make sure that his players are taken care of. His players are healthy and worth the money they're paying him. Because if I'm a business owner and I'm paying him to play both sides of the ball, and he catches the football and separates his other shoulder, you're not playing receiver anymore, or you're not playing defense anymore. One of those two positions is going to go away now because I'm paying you all this money. The NFL is a whole different animal than college. And it's a whole lot different, too, when your kind of stepdaddy's not the head coach either.
Which position do you think is more dangerous?
Probably wide receiver, because you're going over the middle. You don't. I mean,
did we not see the hip drop tackle on Sunday or Monday?
Last time, yeah, right. Wide receiver is definitely more dangerous because you're put out. You're the one who's getting hit, not doing the hitting. You can control the way you're hitting guys. Sure, anything can happen on the field at any time, but
any given Sunday.
Yeah.
Well, and even you look at what was it? Was it Penn State running backs for the longest amount of time going to the NFL? They were just used up by the time they got to the NFL.
Yeah.
And they did nothing by that point in time. So when you're talking about protecting an investment, this is kind of where Prime has to step in and say, Travis, you got to invest in yourself, and you can still win a Heisman by not playing every single play. I believe that he could still win the Heisman by not playing every snap on offense and defense.
Yes.
He's that talented.
Yeah.
So,
but not by missing a game.
Yeah, not by missing. Well, he's already kind of missed at least a whole game if you include the time he's had off from games. In a way, I know he hasn't missed a game, but this is the way Heisman voters look at it. Like, how much time have you missed that's actually been missed, not necessarily taken off of games. And even sometimes when you look at teams that had players sit during games, isn't that one of the reasons why? Oh my God, why am I blanking? Heisman. It wasn't the McCaffrey. McCaffrey, I know, sat in a bunch of games for Stanford when Derrick Henry. And I know Derrick Henry was a damn good running back, but you could say that. McCaffrey was a much better all-around player in college than Derrick Henry because he did everything. He was returning punts, he was returning kicks, he was wide receiver, he was running back. He played a little bit of everything, but in the second half of games, because Stanford was good then, he was sitting out a lot.
Okay.
So also look at how his NFL career is going right now too.
Yeah, much different than Derrick Henry looks spry, and
it's also the team Derrick Henry was on too.
Yeah, no, I know, but Stanford was playing teams that they were blowing out, and so they didn't have McCaffrey out there for everything. So there's that part, but that's why I had a good track record
too of running backs for a while, with Toby Gerhardt being a Heisman finalist too.
Mm-hmm. That's a blast from the past.
It is, yeah.
Jacksonville Jaguar, right?
Jacksonville Jaguar. I mean, dude, he played for, I think he played for the Vikings, They switched him to
Bounce
fullback
around.
in Madden at one point. I remember I wanted to have like Peyton Hillis and Toby Gerhardt on a team together one time.
Jesus.
But you have to protect him in some ways. Like I said, he can win the Heisman by not playing every snap, but you have to have him available 100% on one side of the ball. And this goes into where's your draft focus. I know this focuses on winning games all season. I still believe the Buffs have a lot of talent at wide receiver.
Mhm.
I think they really need the help more so on the defensive side, and his impact on the defensive side is more pronounced there. Not that he doesn't have an impact offensively. I just think it's greater on the defensive side. So, it's what he
That's a
wants
good
to do.
point,
If he
Colin.
wants to get paid the highest amount of money, then he's going to want to play wide receiver.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll see what Saturday brings. Late night kickoff again, 8:15 Mountain Time. So enjoy staying up late, folks. It's going to be a long one. It's going to be a late one. I don't think it's going to be long, but
I like that because I get up early on Saturdays, so that gives me time to take a nap and actually watch the game.
yeah, I got to get up early on Sunday, so we'll see how far I get into it.
Yeah, Nick's early day is Sunday.
Plus, there's a World Series game on Saturday too. So yeah, priorities.
Just get 2 screens.
No. Again, we'll just touch on it real quick. Friday and Saturday. Friday is game 1 of the World Series. This will be the 22nd time. No, not 22nd. I don't remember. The Yankees and Dodgers have met a lot.
One of the times.
First time since 1981, these two teams will face off in a World Series. Yankees have won a number of them over the Dodgers. Is it like 14?
11.
11. And the Yankees are 7-4.
This is the 12th time. I don't know the total.
The Dodgers have only won 4. 55, 81.
Yep, 7-4 is 11. So if this is the 12th time, then your math checks out.
I can't remember the other two. They were in the 50s though, because the Yankees were owning the Dodgers for a long time. But I digress.
So that was the Brooklyn Dodgers.
Garrett Cole and Butane are going to face off.
8-3, it looks like.
8-3. Okay. So there was one more in the 50s. I can't remember. Anyway, I mean, it's gonna be a hard fought battle. It has the potential to be 7 games. I'm worried about my Yankees because I don't know which offense is going to show up and how much
Yankees
that
offense
bullpen is for real.
Or if Judge will show up.
I'm not worried about
I mean, it's always kind of been one of those things. I know you still have to worry about Judge in that lineup, but his postseason numbers are his postseason numbers. They just aren't that good. And I know he finally broke through with a home run in game 4 or 5.
3.
Was it 3?
No, game 4.
Game 4.
Who?
Game 4. Aaron Judge. So he finally broke through, got a home run in a spot, but his batting average is still under 200 in the playoffs. Right? I don't believe that's gone up. I believe he was at like 190. Not very good in the postseason. So for the Yankees fans, they got to hope because that Stanton, Soto, and Judge, threesome. Go
But
ahead.
the problem is everybody keeps pitching to him, and all it takes is him for him to connect one. And I know everybody's going to linger on he's 5 for 78 or whatever, but that one is really all he needs. He just needs that one big bop to get everybody back on his back again. I mean, you can't pitch around Soto because you got Judge behind him. All it takes is one mistake for Judge to crank you out.
Oh no, and I
you got
fully
G
agree.
behind him.
But he hasn't. That's
He
the
has
problem.
though. He has.
He's done it. Okay, he did it once in game 4. Then what happened in game 5? Didn't he go 0 for 3 in game 5?
No, I thought he had a base knock in game 5.
Okay, maybe he had a base hit in game 5, so he was 1 for 3, 1 for 4.
So,
And also, isn't there a tendency in baseball in the playoffs, especially, to not swing for home runs as often, which is kind of exactly what Aaron Judge does? How good is he as a baseball player if he's not trying to hit home runs? Or should he be the one who's kind of bucking that trend? Or is that just something I heard on the radio from baseball old heads and that's not actually true anymore?
Old heads.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah. Baseball has definitely changed, I guess I should say.
Yeah,
They're still
now, and
they're still swinging for the fences.
yeah.
Okay.
Wrong game.
At least some guys are.
Well, Judge has to. That's kind of my point. Is that's what he does, right? Because he's not like super fast, or is he good at like other kind of basic? Like he's a slugger,
moderately fast, but I mean he's just so big that he takes one stride and he covers 15 feet.
That's true. So he effectively kind of is fast. Okay.
Aaron Judge was 0 for 4.
Oh, was he?
Game 5, and is batting with 2 Ks. He's at 161.
Was I thinking of game 3 then?
Or
game 4.
Second lowest batting average on the team if you don't include your catching, whatever's going on with catchers. That's back and forth. Him and Jed. But I do agree that he can make you pay for any mistake at any time. Like that's true. It's just that he hasn't, and it's true until he changes that narrative.
Well, he did when he did it, and when he hit that home run in game 4.
That does.
I don't think that changed the narrative.
The narrative. Yeah. One success. I'm sure Paxton Lynch threw 1 touchdown pass.
I mean that's the Rockies saying they're World Series contenders. That's Dick Monfort thing. That's Rockies are World Series contenders because they made it once.
Don't get me started on that team right now.
I mean that's what I'm telling you though. What you're saying is that he hasn't changed. He hasn't changed the narrative.
What about Raiders?
He hasn't changed it, Nick. He just hasn't. All right. Yeah. I'm not saying I love Aaron Judge. I think he's phenomenal for the game.
Yeah, because it was in the 8th. It wasn't narrative changing because it was in the 8th inning. It was off Clase.
And then he went 0 for 4.
Yeah, and then you go immediately.
But he got him 2 game 4 because they were losing that game.
It's still you're not looking at the big picture there, Nick.
I am looking at
it didn't change anything. It did change something in a game.
That's one game. That's nothing to do with the narrative. The narrative is that Aaron Judge can't.
That was the game that pretty much got them to the point where it was one and done for the Guardians.
Sure, well, but it's like Spider-Man and Family Guy. Everybody gets one.
And the Guardians still ended up winning that game.
And did they really?
The Guardians won that game, and then the Yankees, in the game that they won in Game 5 to finish off the series, he went 0 for 4.
Yeah, that actually makes it worse. That his only success was in a game that they lost.
And yes, it helped them to. That home run, yes, helped them to extend that game. But he was 1 for 5, 3 Ks.
That's rough.
Okay.
So the narrative, like I said, it's not that it wasn't a big hit, Nick. You are right. It was a big hit, but it didn't change the narrative around him in the playoffs.
And it still can be changed. So all he's got to do is have a good World Series.
I still think that he's performing where he needs to, how he needs to, because again, he's still a presence. He's still a presence. They're still afraid to pitch to him, but they're still doing it. They're still trying to pitch around him. And at the same time, in center field, let's look at what he's done defensively.
I'm talking about. I know. I'm not arguing that he's not a great player, but I'm telling you, at the plate, he is no good.
Okay, then I'll trade offense for defense if I need to, because my other option is an unproven rookie out in center field, and I don't want an unproven rookie in center field. I want my captain out there.
That's fair.
My captain.
I mean, 5 strikeouts, 9 at bats, 1 home run.
I'm going to defend my captain. Stats. He's doing what he needs to do. He's got those guys going. He's got them clicking. He's got that locker room with the personality now. That's Nick, where we need to be.
Nick, those glasses are blinding you to his postseason failures.
No,
it can't change. Of course, it can change. But I'm telling you, your thought that this narrative is different is totally out in left field.
Yeah, all I hear is people talking about how Aaron Judge has been not good in the playoffs. I mean, obviously, again, this is fucking, like I said, I was listening to some old heads.
Well, let's also remember one of the years was the year the Astros were cheating. So there's also that.
He's batting 161 this postseason, Nick.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not even talking about other postseasons.
Again, he's still doing what he needs to in center field. Everybody keeps looking past that. Oh, look at the narrative. Oh, look at the narrative. He's not doing anything at the plate. He is doing something at the plate. How many home runs does Stanton have?
Yeah, he was the MVP of the
Soto have.
Plenty.
He's doing what he needs to do. He's in the middle of that lineup, and they're throwing junk at him because he's gonna get that low strike called on him every time anyway.
Oh my God, they're not afraid of him though. They're striking him out.
No,
they're not afraid of him. He is striking out. He is not hitting the ball, Nick.
Dude, I'm gonna laugh though. Come this World Series, just wait.
Just wait.
Okay.
He's been spending the whole playoffs getting ready.
How many years have you been waiting for him to have a good postseason? Or wait, this is a good postseason according to you.
He's doing what he needs to do. He's performing. He's showing up. He may not be doing everything he needs to at the plate, but he's still doing something at the plate. He's giving Stanton and Soto a chance because they're attacking them because they don't want to go after Judge.
They are going after Judge.
They're throwing junk all around him.
If they're throwing junk to him and they're not attacking him, why hasn't he walked? Where is walked? Less than he struck out?
Less than he struck out? I feel like, too...
I don't keep scoring home anymore.
He has struck out more than he has walked.
Okay.
He struck out more than he's gotten on base.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it kind of feels like to me...
They're not...
like when Michael Porter Jr. in the playoffs a few years ago, he wasn't doing the thing that he was known for, which was making a shit ton of 3-pointers. But he was doing a lot of other things that actually helped the Nuggets win a championship. But his shooting numbers and the things that he is like famous for and good at were not happening. But he was also the third best player on the team, whereas Judge is arguably the best player on the Yankees. Or am I wrong? You guys say he's the best or?
I mean, overall, yes. Yeah, I mean, I would say he is the best, but not the postseason best because Soto and Stanton have had a much better postseason than him. And I would say Soto's been more valuable than him as far as the postseason goes, just because, his fielding, he is playing in the field. That Soto is more valuable than Giancarlo Stanton because he's playing in the field. Stanton is basically a DH, yes. So I would say in the postseason, Soto has been more valuable.
Okay. So it's kind of like Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown almost.
He's still got over a 300 on base percentage, dude.
That seems good.
He's getting on base still.
All right, but what does he do?
Gets on base.
Gets on base.
See Moneyball? Gets on base.
Gets on base. Yep. I'm glad Nick caught on to that. Yeah, but what does he do though? Gets on base. Yep. Tell him, Jonah. I forget the guy's actual name in reality. I was going to say in the movie that's a real person.
Okay, go, Colin.
Well, you want me to go into the victory formation?
Well, it's either that or we talk about AG real quick, but...
This is the victory formation.
All right, boys, here we go. Best play in football. 6 right tight diamond victory on 1. Break.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, it's jam.
The Pick'em segment, proving that Colin Zanker is the most humble man in the history of time. Least. Featuring Nick Archuleta, wishing he was somewhere else. And Joe Goodwin, just kind of winging it.
Oh, that's right. This is the victory formation, and some of us had a few more victories than the other this week, and two of us were 2 of us tied? No, 2 of us were not tied. One of us went 4-2, another one went 3-3, and the other one went 2-4. Start things off with the Yankees versus Guardians in the game we were just talking about, Game 5, where the Yankees came out victorious. Joe lost, and so did the rest of America when the Yankees won, except for Nick and myself, who picked the Yankees to win that game. The Dodgers versus the Mets in Game 6, both Nick and I got that one correct also, showing that Joe still knows nothing about baseball, but that's all right. He had some good content there with the Yankees stuff.
I wasn't trying.
He was definitely correct in the fact that Judge is not performing in the postseason, and the narrative hasn't changed. But the narrative hasn't changed for the Dodgers as they move on by defeating the Mets. Both Nick and I get that right at -145. The Patriots fall to the Jaguars after leading 10-0 in London early on Sunday. I obviously know nothing about football because I chose the Patriots, and Nick and Joe both picked the Jaguars. Speaking about not knowing anything about football, Chase McLaughlin You are dead to me. I had $300 on the line and you missed a field goal. And then Todd Bowles, you don't go for a field goal in the fourth quarter. You get Chris Godwin hurt. You're an asshole. All right.
I agree. Yeah, getting Chris Godwin hurt, motherfucker.
Terrible. Actually, I don't blame for playing Godwin. Godwin probably wanted to be out there. Yeah. But we move on to
Chris Godwin real fast.
To the other game where it was the Jets and the Steelers on Monday night. I was the only one dumb enough. Oh no, but actually me and Joe were both dumb enough to pick the Jets in that one.
Yeah.
Nick picked the Steelers. So we won 21-40 on that. The other Monday night game. Sorry, that was Sunday night football. The Monday night games, Ravens versus the Bucks. Me and Nick both chose the Bucks, and how wrong we were. I should have saved my rant on Chase McLaughlin for that one, but damn it. All I needed was that field goal. I needed one field goal.
Damn it.
I needed a rushing touchdown for Bo Nix. Now you know how I feel.
I've known for a while. But Ravens at minus 185. Joe, you won that 15-41 there. And the Chargers versus the Cardinals, I was the only one who believed in the home Cardinals at plus 100. That meant $20 in my pocket. Nick, the big winner of the week, going 4-2, winning $21.40, meaning you won
$21.
Excuse me. You won $49.71 this week, bringing your total up over $800. $808.55, first one over 8. I was in second, and I'm also in second place overall, winning $24.31 at $763.77. Joe, you lost $10.59, bringing you down to $729.82.
Dope.
As we look forward, we'll have a show Saturday afternoon at 3:00 or so. And so the games that we pick before that, first things first, Thursday night football, Vikings versus the Rams. Rams are home underdogs at plus 130. Nick, who you got?
Minnesota.
Taking the Vikings after they suffered their first loss this last weekend. All right, Joe, who you got?
I mean, they already lost once. They're not going to just do it again. I'll take the Vikings.
Okay, I'm actually taking the Rams in this game. I think that the trade rumors swirling around Matt Stafford and Cooper Kupp, I believe these guys want to go out and play in front of their home crowd one more time and show out. So give me the Rams in this game.
Yeah,
we move on
to beat his future team
to Thursday night basketball. Not doing the late game because I didn't really like it, but the game that I do really like on that docket is the Timberwolves visiting the Kings. Timberwolves, who just lost to the Lakers tonight, and I won my bet of Anthony Davis, 50 points, rebounds, and assists over. Thank you very much. And I won King of the Court, so there we go. Timberwolves versus the Kings, underdogs, plus 100, visiting the Kings, minus 120. Nick, or Joe, who you got?
If they hadn't made the big trade, I would have just said Minnesota and not thought about it. But bringing in Julius Randle instead of Cat and the King. The problem is the Kings still can't stop anybody, despite now having DeMar DeRozan, so they can score even more and not stop anybody. I'll stick with Minnesota. I just don't like it.
He is sticking with Minnesota. I am going with the home Kings in this one. And I hope DeMontis Sabonis hits 4 threes to win me an early bet.
There you go.
Nick, you got?
He should sometimes.
Sacramento.
All right, we move on to the NHL. The Jets are 6-0 against the Kraken, 4-3-3 on Thursday night. The Avs just beat the Kraken 3-2. This game, will the Jets stay perfect? I don't believe they will. Give me the Kraken at home. Nick, who you got?
Give me Calgary.
They are also playing that night, but that is not the game.
Give me Montreal.
I'll take Quebec.
Give me the Jets.
He's taking the Jets. All right, if he's staying in Canada, that's Winnipeg. For those of you who are looking for it, Joe, who you got?
Canada. To quote the great Liam Neeson, release the Jets.
Okay.
I'll take
Jets are saying
Winnipeg.
perfect. The Jets are saying perfect according to Nick and Joe. We move on to Saturday football in a top 25 matchup. Notre Dame, number 12 against number 24 Navy. Don't have the odds. No, do have the odds for this. Notre Dame huge favorites at minus 455. Navy at plus 350 playing at home. Navy is perfect on the season. Can we see a oh my goodness, why am I not military school? What are they called?
Service Academy.
A service academy go undefeated and make a college football playoff. They got to win this one. Nick, who you got, Notre Dame or Navy?
I would love for Navy to win, but I got to go with the Golden Domers.
Yeah.
You know, I would too. And there's the part of me that just wants
Just for the chaos.
You know what? Yeah, give me chaos. Give me Navy. Give me Navy. Give me Navy.
There you go. Because I was
All
just going to take Notre Dame, so that meant Navy was guaranteed to win. I
Okay,
thought
well,
Army
cool.
was better. Aren't Army ranked, or is Navy the one that's ranked? And
Navy's ranked 24.
Navy's ranked.
Okay, so Navy's the one. Ooh, that's
And then we move on to the last game of the week before Saturday's show. There's a reason why this one went last because we already know who Nick is picking. Game 1 of the World Series, Yankees versus Dodgers. Nick is taking the Yankees at plus 105. Joe, who you got? Dodgers minus 135.
okay. I mean, yeah, fuck it. I feel like this could go either way. I mean, yeah, I guess I'll go Dodgers.
I am going Dodgers also, obviously. And Nick, is there any reason for you to change your tune in Game 1 of the World Series?
No.
You know, I didn't think so. So that's part of the reason why I went last. So I take the Dodgers winning Game 1 and this Valenzuela stuff. I'm sorry, Nick. I don't. I think there's going to be a lot of momentum in the Dodgers' way. I don't know if it's going 7 like you said. I felt like it could have before this, but I don't know anymore. But I could also just be daydreaming.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I know it's a late night. We appreciate you. Thank you, Michael Spillner, and everybody over at e5280sports.com for having us, hosting us, and loving us. We love you guys. Without you, we couldn't do this. Make sure you share and like and comment and concern and everything else that you're supposed to do with the 3 C's or whatever. For Colin Zanker and Joe Goodwin, I'm Nick Archuleta. They're right there. I'm right here. And you're going to bed. Good night.
And we'll be here Saturday.
Yeah.
Yes, sábado.
Sábado gigante.